Okay, we have one last 3D figure that we're going to find the volume and the surface area of, and that is a sphere. So we're going to look at the parts of the sphere first. So in this diagram, this segment here that goes all the way across here is the diameter. You've heard of this before. Okay, this segment that only goes from the center to the edge is the radius. Okay, this point right here is the center. And then this right here, this dotted line that goes all the way around here, it's called the great circle. Okay, so it says a sphere is a solid in which each point is equidistant from a center point. We've seen that definition before. And the great circle slices the sphere into two hemispheres, so it cuts it in half, okay? So we're going to look at volume, and then we're going to look at surface area of these spheres. So it gives it to you in the left-hand box here, volume and surface area. And all you need in these is the radius, and then you can find everything else, okay? So we want to find volume for number 1 and number 2. So my volume formula is 4/3 pi times r cubed. So my radius is 7, I'm going to cube it. So type it in. 4 divided by 3 pi times 7 to the third. And this is going to be 1,436.76 inches cubed. Okay. So number 2, you need your radius again, but it gives us diameter, so we got to cut it in half. It's going to be 16.5. So my volume, I'm going to take 4/3 pi times 16.5 cubed. So plug it in. 4 divided by 3 times pi times 16.5 to the third. And you get 18,816.57 centimeters cubed. So now for number 3 and number 4, we want to find surface area. So it is 4 times pi r squared. Make sure you get the formula correct. So my surface area number 3 is going to be 4 times pi times my radius squared. So we're just going to type that in. 4 pi times 2.8 squared. And that's going to give me 98.52 meters squared. Okay. Same with number 4, except it gives us diameter, so my radius has got to be half of that. It's going to be 12. So for my surface area, I'm going to take 4 pi times 12 squared. Plug it in. You end up with 1,809.56 millimeters squared. Okay, and now we're going to look at hemispheres. When they're cut in half, they have different formulas. The volume is going to be 2/3 pi r cubed. The surface area is going to be 3 pi r squared. So here to find the volume, just plug in 2/3 pi times 5 cubed and plug it in. You end up with 261.8 kilometers cubed. Okay. So let's flip it over. They want us to find the volume again on this one. They want us to find surface area on 7 and 8. So let's write it out. Our surface area is 3 pi r squared, just so that you know, and you can plug it in. For a hemisphere, it's going to be 3 pi times 14 squared. You've got to make sure that you get the right formula. That's the biggest issue there. So I'm going to have 1,847.26 yards squared for that one. Okay. We're going to skip down to number 9. Tells us to find the volume of a sphere with a great circle area of 201.06 square inches. So basically what it's telling me is that this circle right in here, I'm just using this picture. This picture doesn't actually go with that problem, but I'm just using the picture. It's telling me that this circle right in the middle has an area of 201.06. So I'm going to write down the area formula for a circle. It's going to be pi r squared. So that I can find the radius, and then I can find the volume of that sphere. So I'm going to plug in 201.06 in for A. I'm going to divide by pi. When I divide by pi, I end up with 64. And then my last step is to take the square root. So r gives me 8. And now I can find the volume of the sphere. My volume formula for a sphere is 4/3 pi r cubed. So I have to plug in my radius that I found. So plug it in. You get 2,144.66, and this is going to be inches cubed. Okay. Okay, so I want you to think about number 10. Just want to kind of walk you through it. On number 10, break it apart, figure 1 and figure 2. I want you to find the surface area of figure 1 by using the surface area formula. Remember, the surface area formula for a cone is pi r squared plus pi r h. And then I want you to find the surface area for the hemisphere. So if you do that, you're going to use surface area is 3 pi r squared. But this is surface area, so you only want to calculate the areas that you can touch. You cannot touch this circle in here, and you've calculated it in your circle twice. So you want to add these two together, yes, but then the last step, step 3, is to subtract the area of this circle twice, because you have calculated it here and here. So you want to take away the area, you're going to multiply it by 2 times pi r squared. So add these two, subtract this one to get your total surface area. Okay? Number 11. I'll help you set it up, and then I'm going to have you solve it. So number 11 says the Henleys have a silo on their farm to store grain. Assuming the entire space is used, what is the maximum amount of grain that the silo can hold? When we're talking about filling something up, we are talking about volume. So I want to find the volume of figure 1 and the volume of figure 2 and just add them together. Nothing will be subtracted because we are including everything within this figure. So figure 1, the volume for figure 1 is going to be that 2/3 pi r cubed. And then you're going to find the volume for figure 2, which is pi r squared times height. And you're going to add those together. And that's all you'll do to get the total volume. Okay? So I want you to finish up the problems on this page that we didn't get to, and then I want you to start working on your homework 10. Make sure you are quietly working on these problems.